Greetings, groovy people. This is the self-proclaimed Blue Dragon, and I want to welcome you all back, or welcome you to this week's video, which is a continuation of the discussion of time, or at least how time and time travel works in Dark Horse. I do first and foremost apologize for this. This is actually April's question and answer session, so I do apologize for the delay. Just the way things kind of fell this month were kind of weird, and I should have had the video prepared a little quicker, but as it is, it's posting in May, but it is April's question and answer video for my patrons at the $10 level or higher. And again, after checking with them, they didn't have any questions, but they did want to hear the rest of the time discussion and, just wanted me to elaborate on that too. So that's what I'm going to do in this video. And then I will also still have a May question and answer session, although we are going to be moving either this month or next month. We've been packing things up. We've been in the process of moving for quite a while now, but that's actually coming to fruition. Grabbing at the low-hanging fruit. That's a word of Wednesday. Fruition. That will be happening very soon here. So I'm hoping I'm gonna do my best to be organized enough to not have May's Q&A be as late as April's, but that's gonna kind of hinge on what all is going on in reality. So I will do my best, I promise. Okay, so let's get right into it. First off, we're gonna start with an iCard. The whole time I was thinking about making this video, I've had Pink Floyd stuck in my head. So, I would cut out the background noise, but nobody wants to hear me, talking without any background music. But afterwards, if you like, go check out the entire Dark Side of the Moon album, because it's amazing. And that's okay, enough stalling. I've got to get on with this video. I've got to get this subject tackled and done with. At least done for now. So I had been asked regarding Odysseus and, his whole time travel thing, which I'm not going to disclose too much. I've already talked a bit about him and how he got back. I don't want to spoil too much because that's, in the future of the comic. But I was asked specifically if Odysseus, traveling back in time, would anything have happened? Would it have changed any of the current events? And the answer is no. I'm going to go into a lot more detail about Odysseus when I do next week's video. I think is when I'm going to be coloring the Act 3 revamp title page. So I'm not going to talk a lot about that just yet, but I will say it was pointless for him to try to kill Kana in the past, because as the storyline, as we'll see with the Act 3 revamp, Kana and Rina are fully aware of Odysseus, and his time travel has already been kind of wrapped up into the quote-unquote current events which are happening in the early 2000s, so in spite of his trip back to 1999. So they know all about Odysseus, and they have their powers already when Keisuma takes over. That's going to be, in the Act 2, as it is now, you can still, on Comic Fear, you can see how they kind of know already a little bit, but I'm going to make that more evident as I do this revamp of the flashback, which, again, I'm going to talk a little bit more about with, I think, next week's video, if I remember. I hope I remember. But that is something that's been, so to speak, baked into the story already. His time travel, so him going back in time. If he hadn't gone back in time, would things have changed? No, probably very little would have changed. Definitely nothing regarding his timeline. Regarding the girls, things would have changed. They weren't really prepared for Keisuma's rise anyhow, which will be something that's tackled in a later series. So That's all I'm going to say about that right now. If Odysseus had not gone back in time and taken the girls to the future, the way things transpired in the past would still remain. The way I kind of see the past right now, the year 1999 on up to the point where Odysseus leaves what is actually the present. I liken it kind of to when you're, making a film, when you've got the reel of film that's blank. You've got all the stuff that's, that's already occurred in the past, but the future is at a blank state, at least on this wheel of time. So, there's a lot of... it's really hard for me to explain. This is terrible. How can you be telling the story if you don't know how to explain it? This, for at least when we're thinking of the future, what Kana and Ren kind of consider to be the future isn't the future. They're living in the past. And Odysseus is actually in what's considered the present, and then the future has not been written yet, which is why even Shimiko, although Shimiko doesn't really have, she's not psychic, she has no psychic abilities, and even with the idea of Kanma, the fairy seer, one, they are extremely rare. They only happen, every so often, and even as a seer, they can't see into the future what is going to happen. The way they view it is they can kind of see different options, the way they can visualize the way things might play out, but they do not know what the future is. So even a seer really doesn't, they call them a seer, they consider it an oracle, but really they're just more taking educated guesses because the way their mind works and the things that they can view and know things that other people don't. There's just not enough space in most people's minds to remember everything, and you certainly can't you can't just touch someone and know their past, like, the crow or something like that. So with the seer, they can see everything very clearly in the past, and if they concentrate, they can be aware of what's going on in the present, but they cannot know the future, at least in this timeline, because it is the first time that it's being written. That's very important because, as you've seen with Shimiko in, a lot of the chapters with her, there's this wheel of fate or wheel of time that she kind of takes around with her, and that changes as the spokes on the wheel changes, as a new anyone who's related to the crystal lotus, if they're discovered, that wheel changes. There are more spokes, but time, I'm not really going to go and explore the other timelines, at least right now. There's certainly the possibility that there are other timelines, but after Odysseus's failure to change the past, he will never try again, because no matter what in his mind, he's defeated. One, Shimiko is going to kill him if he tries it, and two, he's already seeing, his present day self is seeing that traveling back to the past is not the answer, and that they're just going to have to shape the future. So I hope that explains. I think that explains the whole time situation. I hope it does. If anyone has any more questions regarding that, please feel free to leave comments down below. Become a patron at the $10 level if you want to officially ask questions. Unless I keep not getting questions. In which case I'll just talk about stuff as I've said in the past. But yeah, I think that pretty much covers time. Wow, I had some backup in case I ran out of things to say about time, but actually I think that covers it. I don't have to talk about that again unless somebody else has questions. I do want to thank you guys for listening in. Tune in next week. This week's question of the week. Ooh, I'm just gonna come up with it on the fly. Oh, hey, what's your favorite Pink Floyd album? Just because I opened it talking about Pink Floyd. There you go. That's the question of the week. If you don't listen to Pink Floyd, go listen to them. Maybe you'll like them. They've got a plethora of different albums and songs and stuff. So, yeah, if you like the video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, please hit the notifications button, all that stuff. Thank you for listening, and peace and love, and keep on trucking.